All right, here we go. Welcome in, welcome in. This is the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr. Appreciate all of you for tuning in. We have an absolutely loaded show on the docket for you all today. NFL trade deadline coming up on November 1st. And we know the 49ers a little bit injury depleted on the interior of that defensive line. Could they beef up the interior with a stud defensive tackle? Christian McCaffrey buzz stays hot for the San Francisco 49ers. We'll dive into the latest there. And Matthew Stafford trade talk had some very fascinating things to say to Jalen Ramsey on his podcast. But we begin with this. Daron Payne is that beefy interior defensive lineman who we're going to talk about and break down on the show. I think that he would be a fantastic trade acquisition for San Francisco. And since Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch started their regime back in 2017, they've often made some trades leading into the NFL trade deadline. And with the Super Bowl ready roster, could they do it once again? Payne, a popular trade target, and the 49ers suddenly thin at defensive tackle. Hang on, we'll get to that here in just a second. First, though, after every single one of our watch parties, we've been going live on Callin. It's an interactive podcasting app, very similar to Twitter Spaces, but even better, where you can call into the show like a sports talk radio show. We'll be going live once again after our watch party on Sunday, and it airs on YouTube as well, but you can't call in from YouTube. That's why you have to download the Call-In app so that you can interact with me, voice your questions, and basically chop it up with yours truly. If we get 100 or more people tuned in on the Call-In app after the watch party, we will be giving away a free San Francisco 49ers t-shirt. Now, you can download the app on the left side of your screen by scanning the QR code for the App Store, Google Play on the right. Hope that you all join us on Call-In. Therefore, we can get you hooked up with a free 49ers shirt. All right, back to Daron Payne. So he's in the final year of his rookie contract, 2022 cap number of $8.5 million, but the Washington Commanders paying a lot of that up to this point because, can you believe it? We're almost at the midway point of the 2022 campaign. And in my eyes, he's one of the more under-talked about defensive tackles in the NFL. It's probably because he plays for a dumpster fire joke of a franchise in Washington. More on him, though. Very good player who has a lot of accolades to his resume. He went to Alabama, played under Nick Saban, was a terrific player in the college ranks, won a national championship back in 2017 that was good enough, that spotlight, to earn him first-round pick honors in the 2018 NFL Draft. Big dude, 6'2", 311 pounds, and he ran a 4.9 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine. So at that size, very agile, fleet of foot, 18 and a half sacks in 5 years in the NFL. This obviously his fifth year, and we're far from it being over. And for me, look, the 49ers backup defensive tackles have been good this year. Hassan Ridgeway, nice little deal to bring him in on that one-year contract in free agency because you're not paying him all that much. Other guys are also contributing there. Like Kevin Givens is a solid player who's earned himself some money, but with Javon Kinlaw out with another knee injury, he might be cooked. Arik Armstead's been banged up all year. Those players, talking about the backups, are not Daron Payne, and I think that Kinlaw doesn't really have a future with this franchise. That's why I'm kind of all in on going after Daron Payne. And look, if you trade for him, you might have to give up a nice little package to bring in this very good defensive tackle. But as he's in the final year of his contract, this could also be a future investment as well. You look at his numbers this year, 4 sacks, 3 pass breakups, 5 tackles for loss, 9 quarterback hits, and, man, he's been able to really be active in that backfield. This is a guy who can play in multiple schemes, and you think about him potentially teaming up with the best defensive line coach in the NFL in Chris Kocurek, who would be able to further maximize Payne's ability, and then him playing along this defensive line with the studs on it, like Nick Bosa, Samson Ebukam, Charles Omenihu. He'll have some open opportunities to stop the run, yes, and plug those gaps, but also chase after the opposing quarterback. His rankings among all defensive tackles this year, he is 11th in solo tackles with 14, and that defense has really been up and down. He is tied for 15th in assists, and then is tied for 3rd in sacks among all defensive tackles with 4. If you have 4 sacks as a defensive tackle through 6 games, that right there, folks, a very, very solid number. So with that, I want to ask you this, and I'm asking for all of your feedback down below in the comment section because your football intellect, the best among all fans in sports. H for high, L for low, your level of interest in Daron Payne, once you let me know right now. And while you venture down into the comment section, you see that red subscribe button? Make sure you hit that, because if a move happens, we're going to cover it. We give you videos every single day on the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco! Let's continue to grow the faithful family here at Chat Sports as we are north of 65,000 subscribers. From the defensive tackle in Daron Payne to the offensive side of the football. In the backfield with Christian McCaffrey, 49ers continue to be named as a potential trade destination for Christian McCaffrey, with the NFL trade deadline quickly approaching. And I know he's been injured the last 2 years prior to 2022, but in 2022, with the league's worst offense, he's actually been one of the lone bright spots for the Carolina Panthers. He and Nick Chubb, the only two players with 5 games of at least 100 yards from scrimmage this year. So Christian McCaffrey has been getting it done both through the air and on the ground. You take a look at his splits here, running the football and catching it. First, running it, 85 carries, 393 yards, 4.5 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns, and 62.5 yards per game. Receiving, 33 catches, 277 yards, 8.4 yards per reception, 1 touchdown, and 46.2 yards per game. So basically every single week he is due for more than 100 total yards of offense. And you put him in this Niners offense, it could be spectacular. Obviously he's expensive, which is a downfall. He's been injured, which is concerning, but he's still only 26 years old and a dynamic playmaker at that. The Athletic threw out this trade idea, and I don't know if this gets it done. A 3rd-round pick this year, one of the comp picks. The Niners have 2, by the way, and a 4th-round pick in this year's draft as well for Christian McCaffrey. Now, the Carolina Panthers have been telling teams that they are not going to trade him away for nothing. But an expensive running back during a rebuild is very prohibitive for your team-building process with a new regime coming in. So why not try to get something back from McCaffrey instead of holding on to him in the first couple of years of a rebuild when he's an expensive and aging player? As for San Francisco, obviously, that Super Bowl window, it is open right now. So do you think this is enough as a trade package to get it done? Type D for deal, ND for no deal. This is your opportunity to be in the shoes of an NFL general manager. Let me know down in the comment section right now. Pro Football Focus linking the 49ers to Christian McCaffrey. They think it's a really good fit by saying this. Head coach Kyle Shanahan, whose father coached the Broncos when McCaffrey's father played for the team, has known Christian since he briefly served as his babysitter decades ago. Much like the Broncos, the Niners short on draft capital and cap space going forward, so this would have to look more like a rental than a long-term pact. Much like the Bills, the 49ers have consistently used day 2 picks on running backs to no avail, and now starter Elijah Mitchell on the shelf with that knee injury. However, Shanahan recently told Matt Mayoko of NBC Sports Bay Area the team hopes to get Mitchell back after their bye week in Week 9. With major extensions looming for edge defender Nick Bosa, maybe Mike McGlinchey, in addition to uncertainty at the quarterback spot, this may not be a prudent move for San Francisco. However, in a very weak NFC conference that looks weaker each Sunday, perhaps Shanahan and company are willing to take the gamble in their quest to finally reach the mountaintop. And that's really where this conversation kind of goes and trickles toward. If the San Francisco 49ers truly believe that by trading for Christian McCaffrey, it improves their Super Bowl chances, and that Christian McCaffrey and the explosive weapon that he is as a running back and as a wide receiver would make this lackluster, mundane, average, and very frustrating offense better, and it would open up things in the pass game and the run game, who cares about draft capital? Who cares about his contract if it takes you to the mountaintop this year? I have said I don't like paying running backs $15 million. I have said that running backs can be had in free agency and in the draft for very cheap. But Christian McCaffrey is a very unique weapon who can slice you up and carve you up as a running back, but also as a pass catcher in the slot or out of the backfield. And I'm very curious to see and very intrigued by the idea of Kyle Shanahan making a trade for him, because it allows him to get into that creativity bucket to start to draw up some plays for Christian McCaffrey, and at last, it gives him that number 1 back. So again, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, if you think that trading for McCaffrey improves your Super Bowl chances, then just do it and worry about the rest later. What would you give up for Christian McCaffrey? Let me know in the comment section right now. You be the GM once again. We round out today's show with this. The 49ers almost landed Matthew Stafford. Now, Kyle Shanahan has admitted that he was in on the Matthew Stafford sweepstakes, but Matthew Stafford confirmed that, telling Jalen Ramsey on his podcast he didn't think that he was getting traded to the Rams. He thought he was getting dealt to the San Francisco 49ers. More thoughts on that coming up in a second. This is what Stafford said, though. Now, did I think I was going to the Los Angeles Rams? That was the last team I would have ever thought I was going to. I thought it was going to be across the bay in San Fran. I thought maybe Washington. He's very lucky that he didn't get traded to Washington because Daniel Snyder is an all-time fraud. But if he got traded to the 49ers, Shanahan admitted to trying to trade for him. Would the 49ers have won it all last year? If they had Matthew Stafford on the team, would the Niners have hoisted the Lombardi Trophy? He won the Super Bowl MVP with the Los Angeles Rams. He had that magical connection working with Cooper Kupp, but the Niners offense may be even more stacked with talent last year as compared to the Rams, and he went on to have one of the best seasons of his career. Passing yards total was like third in his career. He's eclipsed that 5,000-yard threshold a time or two. 41 touchdowns to 17 picks. Those INTs did lead the league, but who cares? No risk it, no biscuit. Completion percentage, 67%. Yards per completion, 12.1. So every time he completed a ball, it moved the chains and went for a first down. This is pretty interesting for a couple of reasons because the 49ers have tried to replace Jimmy Garoppolo a couple of times. Obviously with Trey Lance, looking in and checking in to Matthew Stafford, almost making a trade maybe and picking up Aaron Rodgers. And then there was some Tom Brady buzz as well, yet here they are with Jimmy Garoppolo with a really good roster, and one of the biggest, weakest links on this team is that quarterback spot. Interesting nonetheless. Maybe they'll be in the quarterback market after this year. If you made it this far, real one, roll call. We appreciate you because you are, in fact, a real one. Type real one. As always, appreciate all of you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.